Hey, morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, Greg and I could talk for like days.
Oh,
As you know, it's election time here all over the state of Tennessee. I mean, I
oh
don't know
yeah.
about you. I've been phone calls inundated. I mean, it is,
Text. I get 25 texts a day.
yeah.
People asking for money from races I can't vote in. But yeah,
But hey, well, there's a twofold here because Greg has been on the show, as you know, before for political analysis of
yeah.
elections, and so now he's in an election.
I am a candidate for the Republican State Executive Committee for all the 6 counties in State Senate District 16.
Okay, what does that
That
mean?
well, okay, so yeah, the Republicans and the Democrats also,
Hmm.
right? They build an executive committee by electing one male and one female from each of the 33 state Senate districts. So 33 times two, you end up with 66 on the state executive committee. And the way I see that, and what the bylaws for our party say, it's just our job, my job, if I get elected, if the good people of District 16 elect me, is to listen to the counties, listen to the Republicans in the county parties, and take their concerns to the state party, and then be a flow of information. What's the state party up to? And keep the county parties informed. It's entirely a Republican seat. It doesn't pay anything, but it's a way to support our state party. The way the way I see it in the state of Tennessee right now, this is a red state.
Yeah.
And these 6 counties, the good people of these counties are voting 80-20, Republican to Democrat. So with that responsibility comes, or with that power, if you will, comes a great deal of responsibility. We need to keep the Republican Party of our state between the ditches. Keep a big tent, and be honorable, and go about leading in a professional manner. That's what I want to bring to from these counties to the state.
Sure, and it's the governing body
That's
of
correct.
the state party.
We elect the state party chairman. We write or modify the bylaws, and that's pretty important stuff. And when you're thinking about these rural counties, a lot of the fights we have in our state are urban versus rural. So we need our rural counties to be unified, pushing back on some of the city stuff. So when you move to a city, you kind of go crazy for some reason. I don't know why that is. So we need to keep the common sense interest of the rural counties in front of our state party.
Well, absolutely. It is, and just like the legislature, it is urban, rural, and suburban divide. I mean, everybody has
Right,
different needs.
right.
The party's been, it never fails, Rhino.
Yeah.
That term is thrown out all the flipping time. And
What does that mean to you? What does rhino mean to you?
well, it throws me off because it's Republican in name only, right?
Right.
But as a 100% 46-year Republican, never voted for a Democrat person, I would think that I'm bona fide to say what a Republican is. I think you
Uh
would
huh.
be able to that, and the people who are throwing that out probably don't have a 4-4 voting record. And they a Republican?
Well, yeah. Yeah. I've been called a rhino, and I don't know many people that are right of me conservatively. When it comes to guns, pro-life, the key issues, individual freedom. But it's like it's an insult that
It
they'll
is an
throw at
insult.
somebody. I mean, when you govern, you actually you have to work with everybody there, and you want to build a big tent. Look at Trump's cabinet, for example. Uh, there's a lot of people on there that don't fit the Republican definition of Southern Middle Tennessee. Most do,
Mhm.
but you want to look for quality, and people that are going to stick to our core principles. So I think it's just people like to insult, and you'll be called this or that. But I always think of our political spectrum as being a wide spectrum.
Mhm.
There's people on the far left that are communists. There's people on the far right that they're just anti-government altogether. You got to have
It's a
some.
libertarian, yeah.
You got to have some government. I
Mhm.
mean, we can't pool our resources and build roads just by ourselves. We need, government has a role. I mean, the Constitution is pretty clear on the role of government. To preserve order, to ensure justice. That's just police and courts, And then national defense. I mean, that's what the federal government's supposed to be doing. They're dabbling in all kinds of things they were never meant to do. I mean, the wealth redistribution stuff is not what our founders had in mind. So we always want to try to limit government and make it more the responsibility of the individual to own their lives and make their lives and not rely upon the state for sustenance.
Amen.
You have a lot of people on the left that want everybody dependent on government, and we've seen that happen in Europe, and it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well for freedom and dignity. I mean, we have a Christian ethic. Christianity so influenced our form of government because and it's the value of the individual. We are loved by God. We are created by God. He loved us so much, he sent his son to die for us. We have a freedom of conscience. The church can't tell me what to do. The state can't tell me what to do. It's between me and God, and I'm responsible for my choices. And that's the foundation of our form of government. That our Scotch-Irish Reformed Presbyterians brought to this country and fought for our freedom.
Amen.
And that's our heritage. We both have that Scottish heritage, and it just gets me fired up.
We love freedom. Freedom is in our DNA, and once you understand your DNA, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Why is it important? We have a lot of independents running in our local races.
Okay.
And that I'm glad they're running. How about that? But why is it important to run as a Republican or a party person?
That's a good question. Coming from Coffee County, we haven't had as much of the independent challenges as Bedford and Grundy and Franklin have. That's a really interesting question. We're a two-party system. I guess I've always thought of the independent as being a step. These are really conservative people for the most part. There's one that's not, I know about in Coffee, but they're conservative people that just aren't ready to commit. They want to maintain maybe I'm independent. I'm more individualistic quality, and they don't want to be beholden to a Republican Party. I've had candidates say, no one's going to tell me how to vote. We're not going to tell you how to vote. We're the Republican Party. We're proud of our candidates. We're going to do the best we can to find the best candidates, and we encourage you to vote for them. But no one can tell anybody how to vote in this country. This is America. We fought and died for that freedom of conscience. So I think let's treat all those independents as just people that they're not on the fence. They're conservative, probably. I don't know. You have to talk to each one of them individually.
Yeah, you got to know though. Independent, you don't know. You don't know if they're conservative. You don't know who. You just don't know. I guess you have to talk to them and encourage them to come on over to the party, the Republican Party. And wow.
That's my.
Well, and one of the things you're saying, no one wants to tell them what to do, and I totally get that. Except with a party, when you're part of an organization, there are guardrails. That's what the governing body is there for. When you're a part of a team, you are governed by the governing body of that team. And so, as a Republican, there should be higher standards of conduct, higher standards of leadership, and conservative values. So, in a way, it just the only people that the independents are holding to are the voters, which is good.
That's what it's all about. But I guess I guess I'm going to put the responsibility back on the Republican Party of each county. If we're putting forward good candidates and we're well led as a county organization, then any real conservative is going to say, "Yeah, I'll sign up with that brand. I'll brand myself Republican." It is. And in Coffee, and I think in Grundy, we've done a good job of being a good party, good county parties that people are happy to associate with. We've had good leadership. We've had good boards. We've had good events. We've we've brought in key people, make our meetings interesting. So I'll put that back on us. This guy's an independent, but we check him out. We know he's real conservative. Like, come on over. What's going to bring them is a good organization.
Sure.
So I'll put that back on us. Let's make our organizations as good as possible. And we have. I mean, the Grundy County Party is you guys are a bright light in the state. I'm proud of our Coffee County Party. We work a lot together. We share the same state rep, state senator, congressman. We share
Yeah,
all this, all the guys.
we're like kin.
We really
We
are.
really are. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
and
married in
and
so
we
many
got
different
all this
ways.
Scotch Irish thing going on too. I mean, we got a very active Highland Rim Scottish Society right in the heart of Tullahoma, and we got guys in kilts. We got Scotch tastings. We're all in.
So funny. And we're going to talk about his Scotland trip real quick after we get through this. Bona fide status. That's always been a bone of contention during the selection period of getting everybody ready to go as a party. Explain the bona fide status and what that means.
Yeah, so the state party bylaws defined a true Republican as someone who's voted Republican in at least 3 of the last 4 state or federal primaries. So, I mean, when you're dealing with a 95 county state and lots of counties in different places in terms of Republican, Democrat, Independent, you know, you have to write something that's good for the whole state. And some of these states are lagging, some counties are difficult, but it's worked great in coffee. And I can't speak as well about Grundy, but you know, we've had good Republican candidates for a number of years now. Mm-hmm. So if you're a Republican, you had a chance to vote Republican. You had a good candidate to choose from. When I first moved here in 2001, that was not the case, right? There were more Democrats on the county seats.
Sure, it was all Democrat.
And yeah, so we watched that change in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It was Republican, you know, and each county's been at different pace on that change. The rural counties now, I think they're all pretty much Republican, right? Anyway, it's important that they had that rule. They still have that rule. There's the SEC, the State Executive Committee, is going to have to battle with the issue of closed primaries. I can only speak for coffee. I know we have a lot of liberals, Democrats, who have been voting in the Republican primary for years now, because those were that was the real election. You had to vote in that primary if you wanted your vote to have an impact. So, you know, if you lock in a closed primary, well, those aren't conservatives that are voting in our primaries. So I don't have an answer to that question.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little different for every county or every type of county. So we need to, the SEC is going to grapple with that. I have a lot of people tell me they think we should have closed primaries. Like, well, when do you close them?
Yeah.
And if you close them and you've already let in a lot of liberals, well, they're in now. They're bona fide. Well,
Sure.
I know them personally. They've been voting Republican since 2014, but they're very liberal.
Wow.
And, you know, I think what you do is you just maintain a strong, this is my personal philosophy. You maintain a strong party with good candidates. And those 20% of the people that are formerly Democrat that are voting Republican, their votes are going to, they're not going to be able to change the outcome of us having good conservative candidates.
Sure.
I think that's the only way. I'm speaking for coffee, and I think the 6 counties in Senate District 16 are all really pretty similar.
They really are.
They really are. I mean, Lincoln County, they're a hoot over there. DeKalb County, what great people in DeKalb County.
Oh my gosh, right?
You know, this is just a cool 6 counties. It would be a privilege to represent them and to hear from them. So I feel good about those 6 counties. I can't speak of all the other counties, but I figure all the rural counties are in a similar place to our 6.
Sure.
You know, the cities, you know, we carved up Nashville. We've just carved up Memphis. So there'll be 9-0 and represent 9 congressmen representing Tennessee, presumably, come November, and that's it's hardball.
It's hardball.
I'm all in, but you know we need to lead, and you got to lead, and you got to make tough choices sometimes. But I'm jumping to Congress, but that's my philosophy on dealing with the open primary, closed primary, and how to just. Let's face it, our ideas are better. Our ideas worked. Our ideas founded this nation. So let's just celebrate that. We're not a perfect country, but by golly, we've done mostly good for most of the world. It was a radical experiment, self-governance 250 years ago, and it's still working. You know, we got our problems, we got our debt, we've got some crazies living amongst us, but let's just trust the Lord. Let's ask Him for help, and let's charge on for another 250 years.
Well, that's the challenge before us. I've always felt, and I'm sure you have too. I may disagree with things in in any organization, any government, or whatever. We're not all going to agree.
Right.
But I have learned over the years that you just can't take your ball and go home.
Right.
Right? You get involved, and sometimes you get wins. A lot of times you get wins. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way, but you get involved and you make it a better process.
My favorite president, and I think yours, Ronald Reagan.
You think?
Yeah. So, he said, if you got 80% of what you wanted, you've won.
Yeah.
And you can, in this form of government, you can never get it all. I mean, dictatorships can be efficient, but we don't want to go there, right? That's where you get somebody gets everything they want. So you have to compromise somewhere. You don't compromise on the key issues. You decide. I really like Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. I don't know how you do that job, because people criticize him for compromising. That's how you have to compromise somewhere. You just have to decide, make a judgment call, because he's a strong Christian. He's a super intelligent guy, but he's got like a 4-vote advantage, and then he's got a bunch of rhinos, truly rhinos in the House and in the Senate, of course. So you got to find a way to move the ball in the right direction. I had Judd Matheny, our dear friend. Did you ever meet his brother Jack?
I have never met his brother Jack.
Jack is a lot like Judd, but Jack gave me an analogy one time that I just can't forget about government. He said it's like this 10,000-pound ball rolling across a flat surface, and it's going in this direction. Our goal is just push it a little bit, just tweak it a little bit, and if you get it moving in a better direction, well, it's moving in a better direction. It's a big ball, and we keep the crazies out and keep the ball moving in a good direction. You can't change it overnight. Really fast change is usually not good. So you just kind of do your part, team to team up, push that big moving ball a little to the side and keep it moving in the right direction. You can have radical change over time. That's positive.
It takes like rivers, they just carve out. So time and time and time.
Yeah.
All right. Internal issues. So we have a governor's race, a very heated governor's race. We stand on opposite sides of our preference, although as a person, everybody wins no matter what.
We know that we have 3 strong candidates, and Tennessee would be blessed with any of the 3.
Absolutely.
But you got to you have freedom of conscience. You decide who you think would be the best governor. And we're a team. We got to be a team at the end. Whoever wins, we get behind them. And that's how it ought to be with all our races.
It has to. It's like football, right? You play against each other. Sometimes it gets a little rough and tumble. It should never get ugly. Because we're all in this together. Reagan's 11th commandment.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, when the dust settles, you're going to have to shake hands, and we're going to work together and make Tennessee number 1.
That's right. That's right. We're there, and I hope it stays positive. There's been a few negative ads hitting out there. I haven't even seen them yet. I've heard about them.
It's going to get real hairy here shortly.
I bet no telling what's going to land. I know money's pouring in from other places for certain candidates.
Oh, yeah.
Which happens all the time.
Yep.
But it's a big game. But we enjoy playing it. Make the best argument. Just make the best argument. Let's not make it personal.
No.
And you can Marsha's been up there for 12 years. Rose has been up there for 10 years.
Well, he beat Judd, for goodness sake. Our man Judd.
He did. He did. He had an effective campaign.
He did.
And anyway, hopefully it stays positive. Just tell us what you've accomplished. But I was going to say, they both have long voting records now.
Absolutely.
And again, every vote they had to take, there was some compromise. You won't get it passed. So you can pick apart any voting record. That's why a lot of times somebody with no voting record like a Barack Obama.
Barack Obama came out of nowhere. I'm like, he didn't even attend Senate. I mean,
he was a state senator who voted, just abstained.
Yeah.
Yeah, present. He wouldn't even make a decision. And
the people voted for him.
Stealth candidate, hope and change. All he had was hope and change.
Hope and change.
And look what that did for us.
Communism. We're right here. Mondami as a result of Barack Obama.
I think you're right. Yeah, and all the racial division that we experienced.
Horrible.
The Michael Brown and Trevin Martin's, all that just, anyway.
Well, and we've got a lot of Southern Democrats. I was reading, speaking of history, an old obituary from one of my forefathers, and he was a very adamant Democrat. Very much so, Southern Democrat. And everyone was.
Right.
And that party, when it was Reagan for the most part that took the Southern strategy, and the Democrats just went left.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yep.
It's not coming back.
John F. Kennedy would be a conservative Republican today, and of course his nephew is leading HHS.
I thought he was crazy in the beginning. I really did. I thought he was like, what?
Yeah.
But Trump has really chosen rock stars.
Yeah.
People that have disagreed with him, people that love America. It's such a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's like an apprentice show, right? It's like, all right, Rubio, how many hats can you wear, and how well are you going to do it? He just puts them up there, lets them shine, and see what happens.
And it's so cool to have such a deep bench. We have a deep bench for Tennessee governor. Mm-hmm. We got a deep bench for president 2028. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like I like 10 guys, right? And just such quality. And then you look at what the Democrats have. They got nothing. They got nobody. And they're so fractured. I mean, and the Mondamis and the communists that they keep supporting. It's like, man, God help New York City. I mean, it's a great city. And they're just going to spiral down with these kind of terrible ideas. And Portland and Seattle.
Who would have ever thought that we would be, my dad is a veteran, was a veteran, is always, I mean, he's passed, but they fought communism.
Yeah.
And here we are electing him. I mean, it's like Twilight Zone. Don't you feel like it's Twilight Zone? Like America
it
first.
So quickly.
And have you noticed, like, the 250 celebration? This is the weirdest thing for me. We're history buffs, right? Big deal, 250.
Yeah.
Like, big deal.
Yeah.
And there are folks who just did not care. And it's usually the folk that hate America. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they need to get out more, because they need to see just how good we have it here. They just keep feeding themselves the stolen land argument, or we're inherently a racist country. Like, get over yourself. And I love some of the outcomes of the World Cup, right? You've got like 1.5 million people from all over the world coming to visit. And some of those stories with the Norwegian visitors, the Scots, the Germans, who are just seeing America for the first time, not what they see on their liberal newscasts.
And it is.
And they love Americans, and I love some of the history of Arnold Air Force Base, formerly Camp Forest. Mm-hmm. And after we trained our military, it became a prisoner of war camp. Mm-hmm. And there were 20,000 German POWs right down in Tullahoma, right in Camp Forest. And there's so many cool. Once they separated the Nazis from the Germans, Nazis were just a few percent.
Yeah.
These are just normal German people.
Yeah.
And there's some great stories, because there were 300,000 German POWs in the country. Yeah. And in many cases, they'd be loaned out to local farms. And over in Kansas and Iowa, they'd be loaned out to local German farmers that are just one or two generations away from the fatherland. And they would be speaking, the American families would be speaking German and would be feeding these German POWs more than they'd eaten in 5 years. And the abundance of America and the goodness of America, the generosity. And I think the World Cup visitors are seeing that. In my 2 weeks in Scotland and England, we met incredibly generous people. When you get away from the news garbage that gets spun up on both sides, and you just meet with a regular Scottish person. I met Australians. I met all kinds of people from all over Europe. we have so much in common. One of my biggest takeaways from being in England and Scotland for 2 weeks, I used to always think it's like, well, it's us and it's them. But you go over there and you realize that's us. Our forefathers built that. And all the ideas that created us came from there. I mean, it was John Locke. It was Adam Smith, economics. It was it was Rutherford, Presbyterian reformist, that brought us Witherspoon, who signed the Declaration, and all the ideas of limited government, of checks and balances. Because you don't give man power, man. It's corrupting. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and humans are prone to that. So you have checks and balances, so nobody can get all the power. And it's working. Can we keep improving it and make a better union? Yeah, we can, and we're going to. We got to keep up the fight because we have a lot of domestic enemies that hate America and try to tear it down every day.
Well, about the base, and we're going to dovetail, and I'm sorry, I mean, we may go a little bit over time. The base is a huge asset to our region and to the country.
Yes, totally.
What can you say about that in preparing us for the enemies that are knocking at the door?
So I've been a contractor out there for 25 years. Since that's what got us here was a job at AEDC, and I've seen a lot of what we do out there. So we are the premier test facility on the planet, and we also from Arnold, from AEDC, we manage test cells around the country. It's all under AEDC. The colonel there manages all that, and they are pouring money at us for additional hypersonics testing and research facilities, testing facilities. So we need to hire, which means we need to make some apartments and houses for some of these young engineers and craftsmen. We need machinists, we need electricians, we need data specialists, because all we do out there is make data, right? We don't build rockets, we test rockets, and we improve their performance and all. So we need all the counties to support that mission. I'm the incoming president of Arnold Community Council, which is a community organization. We're all just civilians. If we want to get a message to Scott Desjardins or Bill Haggerty, we just pick up the phone. The colonel at the base can't do that. He's got to go through 10 levels of command to get a message to a congressman. We just pick up the phone. We can go to his office and say, Scott, this is what we need. And when you pull the congressmen from all the parts in our country where there's test facilities, you end up with 25, 30 congressmen, you end up with 10 senators. Now you have a little political cloud, because it's always a political process. Whether you're going to fund the military or fund a road or fund, Minnesota health, SNAP programs that end up in fraud, right? It's always a political process. So we try to drive that locally, with the 12 counties. There's 12 counties that are involved in that effort, supporting the Arnold Community Council.
I don't think I realized it was 12 counties.
We draw employees from 12 or more Tennessee counties and northern Alabama that are the employees, and the economic impact is $400 million a year infused into this area through salaries and such, and vendors, and they're throwing more money at us because we are behind China on hypersonics. Was it Teddy Roosevelt that said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick"? Peace through strength. We want to have the best weapons. We don't want to use them. We don't want to send the B-2 bombers flying. We will. Trump will. But we don't want to, right? But we want our enemies to know that we're prepared to do that, and we've got the best stuff, and you don't want to mess with us. That when wars happen is when somebody thinks they can beat somebody else. If beating us, if trying to fight us is such a terrible cost, then we'll be safe. You got to spend that money, peace through strength.
And
it's happening right here. It's happening right down the road. That's where we test the new stuff, the best stuff.
So we can win. Peace through strength.
We don't want war. So we cannot be attacked, so that the world stays safe. The world is since 1941, the world has been safer with a strong America. So we need to keep it strong, which means we need to keep our house in order. We can't go into crazy debt. We're already, what, 29 trillion.
We need to,
We each owe like 120,000 each.
Yeah.
Even the newborn child owes that to the federal government in debt. So you got to get that under control.
Yeah.
You got to control your borders.
Oh,
You can't let people in that are totally unvetted, that have no contribution, that just want to live off what we've built. Can't have it. We can't. We're 4% of the world's population. We can't take care of the whole world. We can be strong and protect the world, but we can't feed them all.
No. And NATO, with Trump being strong on NATO and pulling funding and everything, NATO's been a slush fund forever.
Yep.
I mean, all of that.
And they're finally, they're stepping up to spend more on defense.
Yeah.
And we can't afford to be their police anymore.
No,
yeah.
I agree. All right. Yeah. Last topic, and I just got to ask this. Growth. So Coffee County, it's all coming this way. Growth. Okay. And I know in this past election in Coffee County, growth was basically on the ballot, I would say.
Growth was on the ballot, and growth lost.
And growth lost.
It was close, and there's more reasons why the mayor's race went the way it was. But yeah, and as I talk to people in Lincoln County and Franklin County and Grundy County, they don't want crazy growth.
We don't want it.
They don't want to be a Murfreesboro. Mm-mm. And I totally, and if that's the message that the people want, that's the message we take to the state party. Mm-hmm. But if you can, we want to hire it. So there's a conflict, right? We want to hire people at AEDC.
Yeah.
And of course, to work there, you have to have a secret clearance. You're going to be not a bad guy, not a felon.
Right.
Chances are you're a patriot.
Yeah.
If you want to work at an Air Force base. Mm-hmm. So I like those kind of people for neighbors.
Sure.
So make room for some, but every community itself, it's their responsibility to plan, to do their planning, to do their growth plans and their zoning plans. It's on them. That's not a state-driven process. That's on the local community, the neighbors. So to be what you want to be, but make room for some growth. For job opportunities for your children, you might want to move back here. For AEDC, who wants to hire good-paying jobs.
Sure. And
good people to advance our national defense.
Sure. Yeah, and we need to train our kids for those jobs too. That's where all the school districts come in.
And Coffee County is very excited about our new TCAT facility, Tennessee College of Applied Technology. We haven't had one when the surrounding counties have, and we've got one now. I think it opens in like a month.
That's exciting.
And it went up quick. It's a beautiful building right off of 53 Woodbury Highway. We're excited about that. So things are slowly growing. Some people don't want any growth. We need to find that sweet spot in the middle that allows sensible, steady growth. Yeah.
Back to compromise.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. If you're not growing, you're dying kind of idea. You don't want to be a community of all retirees. Yeah. I mean, those exist, and that can be a good plan for a section, but not for like a whole city.
You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Mike Parton, head of our Sequatchie Valley Electric, always would come in and say all of the above. You can't all be coal. You can't be all nuclear. You can't be all water. You just have to have a mixed bag because.
Yeah, and there's stability there. There's flexibility and inherent security when you're diversified in energy supply.
I'm going to have to ask you about the data centers. What's your opinion on this?
So, yeah, the folks may not know, but Arnold Air Force Base property, they had two sites that were in contention for a data center.
That's right.
One just south of the Coffee County High School, and one just outside Tullahoma on Wattendorf Highway. Those were both considered. And the vendor, it was up to the vendor who was going to build it to decide, and they chose Georgia, a Georgia site.
Okay.
Robbins Air Force Base. So that's where they're going to build a data center.
Okay.
There's speculation as to why they chose them and not us. I heard it was a function of the access to the energy grid, because you need quick access and good overhead access, and I don't think our sites had those in Coffee County. But it would have been Air Force property.
That's right.
And there's not much the Air Force wants to work with the community.
Sure.
But they only build things on their property that are good for the Air Force.
Sure.
And this would have been used by the Air Force, and they were going to find a way to pour property taxes back into the communities, which would have helped sell it, because that means new schools. That's a lot of money. So yeah, I think anybody who's got a smartphone needs to be open to the idea of AI centers, because I mean that's where it's going. That's where the technology's going, and we all have smartphones. We want them to work faster. We want better data, and to have better data, you need faster. You need data centers, you know. And people may not know this, but we're already I'm a contractor at ADC. We already have access to AI, and it's a Google product. Genesis, I think it's called. I've only used it a little bit, but they're planning on giving us 3 more levels of AI as they vet it and maybe get access to more computing power. So it's here, and I've seen great value in it. Like we'll have a meeting that's recorded. And all the words are recorded. You can dump those words into AI and create minutes.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like in 5 minutes,
Yeah,
where
it's
it used to take a couple hours to create a good set of minutes, right? So now you've freed up your time to do something more productive.
Yeah.
And in terms of replacing jobs, that's something that we'll have to grapple with. You know, maybe all the attorneys' jobs will go away. That wouldn't be a bad thing, right? You know, all the attorneys that we have too many attorneys.
God bless. Yeah. All right, last question. I swear to goodness, last question. Water is a big concern for really everyone in the region. In fact, the state. Our guy said that we are on target for a 20-year drought. Because our last here on the mountain, our last one was 07-08.
I remember that one.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's pretty sad when Orem was supplying Monteagle with water, you know, with bottled water. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, water's pretty basic stuff.
And you work with a lot of that, and TDEC's kind of a handful. Sometimes they won't allow us to impound water. You know, there's all these regulations of how we can't help ourselves. And so there's a concern, there's a definite concern about our water.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
And my background is civil environmental engineering, PE. Yeah, you know, I hear talk. I wish we'd built that dam on the Columbia River. On the Duck River near Columbia. 50 years ago? They shut it down for a snail darter, or maybe it was the mussel. I forget which, but they're talking about bringing that dam back because we need. That's on. We're forced to let water out of Normandy Lake just to meet a need in the river Shelbyville and so on. But if they had another dam down there, that would help the Duck River watershed. I don't know your watershed as well. I mean, you guys must have some retention ponds that you store water, and there's a lot of wells probably up around here. So I can't speak to Grundy County.
Sure.
But all of Coffee and McMinnville's a part, that whole Duck River system, that drought of 2007, the Normandy Reservoir was getting very low. I was in those meetings. I was working with Judd and TDEC and Fish and Wildlife, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what do we do here? They were looking at buying more pumps to get water that had gone, you know, the level had dropped so much. So I had not heard about another drought coming. It makes sense. 20 years goes.
Yeah, I'm not going to refute him because he's just one of those people who choose into it, and he runs our utility, and so
he would know.
Here it comes.
So
there's growth and water. Are you water worthy? You know, we go back to that. I know that's kind of funny.
Tullahoma's a unique situation. Yeah. We take our drinking water out of the Duck River system.
Okay.
But then we discharge our wastewater into the Elk River system.
That's part of ours.
Are you guys Elk? So we're kind of taking from one and putting in another, which usually is against the law, but Tullahoma had a special ability to do that because we had no other choice.
You had no choice.
That's how our place is located. But you might need to put in some additional capacity. Like in Normandy Lake, which feeds much of Coffee County, and Wartrace. We pump water to Wartrace in Bedford County.
Wow.
We charge them for it, of course.
Sure.
But we can raise the height of our dam by 1, 2, 5 feet. So that gives you more capacity. But that has impact. You know, that has impact upstream on a couple hiking trails, natural area. So, everything is a give and take, a compromise,
Back to that, yeah.
I do put human beings at the top above a pearly mussel. I'm sorry, no offense, but
No
I
offense.
put us at the top. I care more about human beings than a pearly mussel. And anyway, that's something we fought in the Duck River, which is a wonderful river. I've rafted it, I've kayaked it 50 times. No exaggeration. It's a lovely river. But again, human beings, let's look out for us. So more capacity, maybe more. You might need some more retention ponds, which means you have to plan ahead. You got to buy the land. You got to.
They don't let us on the mountain impound. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's when you get state and federal people working together and saying put people first.
Sure.
Why you? I mean, we put dam. My grandfather traveled this country for 25 years building dams. They built Grand Coulee Dam. He was on that team that built that. Boulder Dam in Colorado, the Colorado River. The two brothers met two wives in a little town building Bagnell Dam, Lake of the Ozarks. And dams are good. You store water, you create recreational opportunities, wildlife. You can go fishing. There's only one natural lake in all of Tennessee, that Reelfoot Lake.
That's Reelfoot. That was from
There are no other natural lakes
right.
in this entire state.
Wow.
Every lake we have, every other lake has been a dam,
Huh.
and it's produced our growth opportunities. You got to have water.
Wow. All right. I didn't mean to go on a all over the place.
I love talking water.
I know. I know. He is. He's a brainiac. Let me tell you. Any last words? Why? And the state executive committee is such a small part of the ballot. I mean, it's just like, oh, by the way, there's that. Why should people vote for you August 6th?
Because I will listen to the voters of Grundy County and these 6 counties. I will listen to their concerns and take those concerns to Nashville unashamedly and try to keep. I'll be 1 out of 66, but I will do my very best to keep our state party moving in the right direction, stay between the ditches, stay conservative. And it's always about building the party, always about challenging our good candidates and finding better candidates and just becoming better and managing that responsibility of that 80-20 ownership of our state, managing that with professionalism and dignity. And that's why I'm asking for their vote. Early voting starts in 2 weeks.
Oh,
no,
gosh.
less than that.
Yeah.
17th. A week and 2 days.
Yeah.
9 days out. And election day is Thursday, August 6th. And I'm asking for their vote. Greg Sandlin for SEC.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to send Greg out to spread joy and sunshine wherever he goes. We're going to take a quick break, thank our sponsors because we love them, and we'll be